you all for joining. My name is Hanna Herbst, and I'm very excited to talk about this more confidence today. To start, I'd like to briefly introduce myself. So my name is Hanna. I work as a management consultant and confidence/career coach at my own company, Delygate.com. My background is in business. I have by now more than 15 years of professional experience. I started off in corporate finance, working for Siemens and Procter & Gamble. Then moved into management consulting, got very curious about entrepreneurship, so founded a startup, eventually went back to management consulting and added coaching along the way. During my time as an entrepreneur, one thing I noticed was there were so few women around. And I really was curious about that. So I started digging deeper, doing my first talks on female empowerment, imposter syndrome. And the one thing that was quoted again and again was that there's a lack of confidence. And that was a reason why women were underrepresented in those areas. And that was one of the first, when I really got curious to more about coaching. And so I really wanted to better understand why we feel confident and how we can create more of those moments for myself, for my clients, because I know that once we push the limits, we can increase the number of female founders. We can just push ourselves. That's one reason why I'm really excited about that. And of course, now the downside, like those moments when I'm lacking confidence overall. And I will share one story that I will bring up throughout my talk. When I did my MBA years ago at Stern in the part-time program, we also got graded on our class participation. So I figured if I raise my hand 2 times per class, I will be fine. In high school and college in Germany, never had any issues raising my voice, sharing what I was thinking, but suddenly I felt hugely intimidated. I had thoughts going through my head like, I have an accent, I make language mistakes, I was one of the youngest, so what do I have to offer? I lack experience. I also compared myself to my fellow American classmates, and for them, it's so easy to just talk and talk. So in comparison, I felt very small. And in those, for sure, I would have wished to have more confidence. And what is confidence anyway? So I looked it up. 2 things I would like to share. Confidence is the state of mind or manner marked by easy coolness and freedom from uncertainty, dividends, or embarrassment. 2, confidence is faith in oneself and one's powers without any suggestion of conceit or arrogance. So what we just learned about it is that confidence is feeling a freedom from uncertainty and believing in ourselves. What I find so intriguing is that confidence is not linked to how anybody else is perceiving us. It's all about us, how we believe in ourselves, how we feel. The good news is, also means we can start working on our confidence anytime. Why not today? The bad news is, maybe that's a spoiler alert, it's not gonna be easy, but you don't have to do it alone. So let's get started. I would like to invite you to go with me on a very brief journey. And for that, just close your eyes. Think of a time in your professional life when you could say, life just doesn't get any better than this. Maybe this time was a moment, maybe even a day. Really bring to your mind the picture of yourself at that time. Imagine what you're doing. Who is with you? what the surroundings are like, what makes this time so rewarding. What are the colors here, the temperature? How does I respond in this time, in this place? Really get specific as you can. Take a moment to reflect what happened. What was going on? What was important to you in that moment? If you were face, I would ask you to have a brief chat with you. But now you reflect. Ask yourself how you felt in that moment. You were doing. How were you being? Say, if you were in a group of people or alone, were you firefighting some last minute exercise or doing an analysis or hosting an event? What made this experience so rich and rewarding for you? And to give you an example on how you can use that, when I did that exercise, one of my peak moments that came up was when I was on stage at a conference for women talking about imposter syndrome. See myself standing there connecting with women, was eye contact, some nodding, few were taking pictures. And afterwards I had one lady, she was hugging me, telling me this meant something to her, and it meant the world to me. And you can do things that were important to me, like empowering other people to make them a version of themselves, equality, because we still got a long way to go, and also having fun. Like, I like being on stage, I talk with my hands, big smile, and I bet it's the same for you like it was for me. In those moments, we feel authentic, like we are our real us. And there's no doubt in our mind, we are simply confident because that's us. And those moments we want to create more of. And I've been mentioning now a little bit here in the values because they will come up there. And I looked it up again in the dictionary. So I found that values are defined as something such as a principle or quality intrinsically valuable or desirable, and principles or standards of behavior, and one's judgment of what is important in life. And in coaching, we use it very similar. So we say it's attributes and attitudes that are who we are. And that part I really would like to stress. Values are who we are. They are not who we would like to be, not who we choose to be. It's simply a reflection of who we are in that moment. And I put a list of different values on the slide. And I'm sure that some of those speak to you. Not because you think, oh, that sounds fancy. It's more like, that's you. That is something that is really core, so important to you. And that's the interesting challenge, to really find the values that define you. And always ask yourself, is this something that is me at my best? Is it something I can use as a compass to guide me in life? And that is an exercise that can take months. Like, it's nothing we do in 5 minutes, but eventually it will become very clear what your core values are, and you can use them to really guide you. And you might wonder why values are important. So we already said they describe who you are. You can use them as a blueprint for decision making. Say, when you are ever in doubt, you can go back to those things that define you, that are like so important to you, and then you can use them to remember who you are and as a decision help. And the moment you start following and acting based on the things that are so important to you, you will feel an increase in your creativity, your flow, and also your confidence. And if you don't do it, right, it's like if you don't follow the things that are important to you, because maybe you work in an environment that has values that are very different to yours, you will feel more alone and ashamed, and also your confidence will decrease. So we have this link between living in your values and your confidence. So the more you live in your values, the more you increase the confidence level, because you act in things that are important to you. And I heard that living values is so good. So I wonder, why don't we already honor our values if they're that good? And I would like to go through it with you. Imagine you do this exercise and you realize that health is your core value. And you really want to use it as a guiding example. You might adjust your diet to eat more nutritious food, pick up exercise to really have a regular exercise regime, do mindfulness meditation to train your mind, sleep 7 to 9 hours, and quit negative habits like smoking or drinking alcohol. And isn't that amazing if you take one core value in how many areas it can impact your life? And I say that's, to me, like that's also the beauty of it. Like it gives why you're doing things, because that's the person you are. And stick that example for a little moment, because I bet it's like your people around you, you tell them, hey, health is core. I'm sure they'll applaud you. I mean, it does awesome, right? But then if you go deeper, you go out, they order gin, you order juice. Come on, one drink doesn't hurt. Maybe you don't even want to go out because you want to hit the gym and then sleep enough. Come on, you can sleep when you're dead. Or you don't want to go to that fast food place anymore. Oh, come on, you became so lame. On top of that, you might hear a little voice up there. You're no athlete. You cannot pull off that exercise regime. Or if you continue with that difference, you don't have any left. And that is why it's so hard to honor your values. Because basically, you need to step up and confirm your values, confirm what is important to you every single day. And if you do that, eventually you will train confidence muscle. You express who you are and you do what is right for you in every situation. That means you act within your integrity, and by that, you grow faith in yourself. And you feel less uncertainty because you know what you're doing. And as that, again, this shows this strong link between living in your values and growing your confidence. And the quote that I find like inspires me so much: courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. It's just to show that this journey, this transition, living in values towards living a confident life where you believe in yourself, you feel free from uncertainty, but you're still nice about it. It's a transformation. It requires. And one thing we already touched base on is those voices, right? Like, oh, shut up. Back to my initial example. I heard the voice, I'm a foreigner, I have an accent, I have nothing to contribute. And I wasted energy on that. And we can call those voices, right? I mean, those voices, we can call them saboteurs, inner critics, self-talks, why do they show up? So they come in moments when change is becoming a real possibility. When you are in a situation where you are outside of your comfort zone and you're pushing for something new, they can come up. They take a piece of truth, twist it, distort it, stretch it, and build up a big argument to stop you from your path of transformation. And that makes it really, really difficult. Let's just make up an example. Imagine you want to change your job function, like go into something different, and you might hear then immediately voices saying like, hey, you didn't do your master's in that area, you've never done it before, don't even apply, it's not gonna work. And that's harsh, right? So those voices, they show up when you want to change something. That's a big challenge for you. You go out of your comfort zone, and that's when they come. And they do it because they want to keep the status quo. They want you not to change because they want to protect you. And it's any time when you go out of your comfort zone, you waken up the dragon. And in those moments, it's hard to keep all this faith in ourselves, to stay confident and believe in ourselves and feel so sure of things. So I'm sure you also wonder, what can we do to reduce the chatter of those voices? So I go about it in 3 steps. The first one is acknowledging it, then looking at it objectively and changing our perspective. My example, I'm the little foreigner with an accent. Acknowledge, I hear those thoughts, like very present, and that I was energy on. And when I look objectively, I do have an accent, I'm my native mistakes. If I'm 5-10 years younger, I have less, say, life experience. It's all true. But instead of looking at it from a perspective, being different, not fitting in, I realize for myself, I should look at it from the perspective of being proud of myself, of how far I am being from a small town in Germany. Being different is beautiful. And I will show you the same thing with the example we just made up. You want to change your job function. We had doubt. You didn't do your master's in it. You've never done it before. Nobody will hire you. It's harsh. And there are facts in it. So when we look at it objectively, because it's a change, so I highly doubt you did education in it. It's a change, so you've never done it before. And that is true, but you always bring transferable skills, and being from a different area, you have a different look at things, and that is the definition of bringing diversity. And if you change, you are highly motivated, and adding that up, doesn't that sound like a winner? So really, is every time you hear those doubts, acknowledge it's there, and then look at what is the piece of truth in it. Like, piece of truth that is true, and that is also the reason why you buy in, why you listen to those voices, because they do have a little point. It's just the overall argument. That's the one that makes sense. You will realize that when you look at it from a different angle. And once you give less power to your inner critics, you will grow faith in yourself and in your powers. And that does mean you become more confident. And with that, all I have left is at home now. So what did we learn? The first one is that your values define who you are. And honoring your values is tough. And it takes courage and standing up to those inner critics every day. But if you do that, if you honor your values, if you honor is important to you and you follow that, you will grow your confidence muscle, authentic, and you will feel the integrity towards yourself, and that will make you by default more confident. So the last thing I want to say is you have to do it alone. If you're curious, say, to learn more, how to tackle your inner critics, how to become more confident, feel free to work with me. I offer you a free complimentary coaching session, which you can book on my website on delygate.com. You can also connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, so I put the handles here. And with that, I would like to thank you so much for joining today. And I'm looking forward to interacting with many of you and wish you a fantastic day.